like to welcome everybody to the Coaches in the Mouth. It's Coach Jeff Williams, Coach Bray Cook here with me, the Mouth, Brent Bender. Hey, how about this weather? I mean, you're talking about 2 weeks ago, you couldn't even go outside because it's hot, and the weather is just, fall is here, and ball's rolling, and
it's football weather, Coach.
It is football all over the place. Well, let's jump right into it. Let's just talk about the Razorbacks from last Saturday. All three of us made the trip up to Fayetteville, watched, and that part of it. Bray, it was kind of an interesting thing. Now you listen to, final score wasn't what everybody wanted it to be here or there. Everybody's kind of dissecting the offensive line about what they're, this issue, running the ball. Talk to me what you felt, and I'll be honest with you, I went to the game, and there just wasn't much energy from the crowd.
Yep.
There wasn't. I'm not saying the team wasn't ready, but the energy level there and that part of it. But a win's a win. You pick up, move on, and a different week's a whole different journey. What was your take, and what do you see? And let's kind of get into the running game a little bit.
Well, I mean, you mentioned there wasn't energy from the players or the crowd. I mean, we're on the same page here. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it is Kent State, and you hate to say that, especially. I'm taking off my coach hat here. Yeah. This is a podcasting hat. It's rat poison. I mean, it's what Coach Saban talks about. You expect to go beat Kent State by a lot of points. You expect it to not be very hard. Not just the players, but the fans. And I think that we kind of walked out there and thought that, and didn't quite beat up on them like we expected to.
Well, and I tell you what, it all worked out for them. You get in those games like that, they're shortening the game. They're snapping it with 1 second. They're loading the box. They're kind of making they're not looking to score touchdowns, really. They're kind of looking just to get first downs and keep it moving and keep it close. They got killed the week before, take their check and go home.
Yep.
And that's kind of what I took out of the whole deal. But, you get in games like that, you can't score 35 points on one play.
No.
And that I think that's sometimes you get in that mode when you play teams like that. Brent, you've got to go back. Actually, you were there and watched it, and went back and watched it. What was your takeaway?
I tell you what I saw first and foremost is that Kent State had the perfect game plan for against us. Take the play clock down as far as you can take it, snap it, then run it 3 or 4 yards, take the play clock down, snap it, and one thing that hurts you now, you forget with the new timing rules in college football. I mean, you're through I think the game time for the whole game was 2 hours and 45 minutes Saturday. Before you've had two, but realistically, you could have one possession apiece, and the first 15 minutes the first quarter's over.
Well, and you know what? I heard a lot of coaches complain about that this week. I think Chip Kelly made a deal about, hey, with these new rules, I hope you TV people sold a lot of advertisements and things. You're kind of hearing a little of that.
So, granted, the Razorbacks didn't do what everybody expected them to do, run out and throw up another 56, and Kent State throw up another 6, and we la-di-da, everything's great. But they Razorbacks did what they had to do. There never was any doubt that they weren't going to win the game, in my opinion. When they needed to, at the end of the game, they looked a little bit like the old Razorbacks. Ran the ball, ran the clock down. The last 6 minutes and 30 seconds. It was over. I think that one conclusion that I think we can come to, KJ has got to run the ball for us to be successful. It opens up so many other things for our other running backs. And opens up our whole offense, in my opinion. If he is, and he's a good runner. You say, well, you hate to get him hurt. Well, I want to have a chance. I want to have our best chance to win. And him running the ball 10 or 10 times a game is a chance for us to win.
Well, it is, and I don't think you could go into a mentality that way about people getting hurt. I mean, it's just part of it. But I tell you what really bothered me about that, Brent, is, and I've got a little different view on it, is I thought they got nervous in the third and fourth, in the second half, and they had to run him, and I don't think that was the plan. I listened to, they were going to use him in short yardage, but with the box count, we running real good. They're trying to run the clock, and they're trying to get out of the game too, and we had to run him, and that didn't make me feel real good about it.
Sure.
And but a lot of times, hey, KJ's a great runner. We're going to run KJ. I think you're exactly right, and we're going to have to win ball games. But I think, to be honest with you, they're probably saving that for this week in LSU, and they had to break it out a little early, so that's got to make you a little nervous.
Yeah, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, Coach Williams, that that was not our plan at the beginning of that game. Was KJ have to run it like he did? But we, as the game unfolded, we said, "Whoa, boys, wait a minute, we got to get something going here," because we weren't exactly throwing it good. We didn't have anything to hang our hat on, and then then they start running big 230 number one quarterback up in there, and Kent State's defense didn't want any more of that after a while, and I think that does one thing. It energizes our team when they see KJ out there running the ball like only he can run it. I'm not going to say he's a Cam. Bray, you played against Cam Newton. Mm-hmm. You saw what he was. I'm not comparing KJ to a Heisman Trophy candidate, but our team takes on the mantra of KJ Jefferson. As he goes the Razorbacks.
I think so, and I tell you what, 2 weeks in a row, a defender has hit him on a sack and fell down and hurt. And that guy's like running a brick wall, big time. Well, Bray, let's just a few more things here. Everybody's talking about the offensive line. I mean, that all came out. Ask Coach Pittman, he rotating some guys in there, and he's trying to find some guys. He's playing a lot of young guys, and I thought a great statement was, we played 9 defensive linemen also, and I understand it's a different animal, but they're trying to find people. What do you see? What's Coach trying to do, Coach Kennedy, as far as offensive linemen? You've been a part of that them rotating guys, and you've done it yourself playing there. What's the mindset? What's Coach looking for?
Well, the biggest key I think is important is that he has a history of having very successful offensive lines, and has always put out some big names, big talent, and put up big numbers. And so whatever it is they are doing is the right answer to me. So obviously having extra guys that you can put out there is huge, especially, usually you'll go into a game and you might have 6 O-linemen that you feel real comfortable with, and that 6th one might play a couple different spots and pop in different places, but to be able to rotate more than that is huge. 1, for experience for those young guys. 2, for the ability to give some of your older guys a breather and get out there and have some fresh talent. So, and maybe a big part of it too is looking for the right pieces. Who's working well together, and sometimes that changes week to week, and then that changes with all positions. So, for him to do that with the offensive line, I'm all for it. I know they'll find the right guys.
Well, let's move on here before we get into high school and a little pro stuff here and bring on some guests. We got BYU coming into town. We went and I made the statement last year, whoever scheduled BYU at BYU is crazy. I mean, that's just crazy. And we went over there last year and played well, gave up a lot of points, scored a lot of points. Listened to their coach in his press conference for the week, and they look like they're 2-0. They really hadn't played anybody either, but they look like, hey, they want a piece of the Razorbacks. They were upset that we came in and beat them last year and look extremely focused. The competition stepping up. We'll get some telltale signs on a lot of positions. What's your take this week on the BYU game? What are you looking for?
Well, kind of like we talked about earlier, you're going to see a different Razorback team this Saturday than you saw at versus Kent State. Because again, it's an opponent that's got a little heavier weight, a little more weight to it. and it's easy to get up for a game like BYU coming into Fayetteville. What time's kickoff? 6:30?
6 o'clock. Yeah, 6:30.
Yeah, the fans will be there too.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little different atmosphere, and I think that we'll see our team firing on all cylinders.
Well, the weather's going to be great to get a little bit more longer to tailgate, and they'll be ready to roll. Brent, what are you looking forward to against this BYU game?
I tell you what is the most. What I'm looking forward to seeing is how our offensive line handles BYU's front, because they've got a new defensive coordinator. The former head coach at Weber State is the first-year defensive coordinator, former and I think it's going to be interesting to see when you're bringing as many folks as he's going to be bringing every time. Our linemen's got to have their eyes up and their head on the swivel, and you've got to make sure you are playing your assignment perfect on the offensive line, because the least little, when they're bringing folks, the least little snafu will break into a minus 15 sackaroo, and we don't need that. But I think the big thing for the Hogs is first time they get the ball Saturday night to get it and do something with it. Let's don't have a 3 and out. Let's move the ball, do some sort of score on the first drive. Like to have a touchdown, but we'd take a field goal the first time we come out there. That gives us something positive to look at. We need AJ Green to continue how he finished last week with 85 yards rushing against Kent State. I believe he found his groove in the second half, and go where the one thing I think our backs need to work on or figure out. It's okay to get 4 yards a pop. You don't always need to hit the grand salami. Okay, it's people like to see the long runs, but if you run off 4 yards, 3 yards, 5 yards, 3.5 yards, sooner or later those holes are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're going to hit those home run balls. And that's what but I think that's really all the Razorbacks need to do this week is play within themselves. Don't do anything that they haven't already done. Don't try to reinvent the wheel, and we'll be fine.
Well, and I agree with you, but I'm looking forward to it. We'll try to have some a guest on next week starting SEC play and talk a little bit about SEC, do a little something with them. Well, let's move on to high school. First of all, hey, Coach Brent Cook, you're 3-0.
3-0, congratulations.
The Pea Ridge Blackhawks are 3-0, got a bye week. You got to love those bye weeks. They're nice.
Good timing,
yeah. I mean,
we'll take it.
Man, talk about your team just a little bit before we get into everybody else.
Yeah, our guys are playing really hard right now. They're bought into some of the things we're doing. You can't ask for more from our offensive line, and Seth Foster, our running back, does a great job. We practice in the mornings, staff meet at 5:15, and those days I pull into the office at 4:30 and Seth's up there doing ladder drills. So we got a great running back and a quarterback in Gavin Dixon, 3-year starter, who's really playing well. 777 total yards.
Wow.
So he's doing some good things, and defensively, Coach Hotelling has got that group rolling right now. So
they're playing fast.
Yeah, but it's important for us this week to clamp down and to really focus on the fundamentals and get ready for conference play, because it's a whole different ball game.
It is. Everything changes. Well, I tell you, big story last week was Parkview. Parkview going to Bryant. Mouth, you picked it. You and Grandma and I picked it. We talked about it a lot this summer, but them going on the road and beating Bryant, man, you talk about a statement. And what's your thoughts, Mal?
Well, let's get right to it. Two of the best teams, two of the best high school football teams in this state. They're probably 1 and 2 in the composites, any way you look at it. I mean, Parkview in 5A is loaded. I mean, they got players all over the field, and they've got the Bolden brothers doing the coaching. They got Coach Brad Bolden doing the head coaching, and Coach Bob Bolden doing the defense. That's a pretty good defense coordinator the last time I checked.
Yeah, he is, and Clay Benberger, the offense coordinator, has done a good job also. But I tell you what, let's get Coach Bolden on here right now. BSN guest, one of their BSN guests of the week, Coach Brad Bolden. Let's bring him on. Coach, welcome to the Coaches in the Mouth show. Hey, great to have you back on. You talk about the Parkview Patriots are the kind of the Colorado Buffaloes right now of high school football in Arkansas. I mean, everybody's talking about you. Y'all go last week, stopped the 55-game winning streak or whatever it was with Bryant at their place. The Mouth picked you, Grandma Nah picked you, felt the upset was coming. And, man, you guys, and we felt like going into it, you took your 11, they took their 11. Y'all match up fine. And, just the depth part of it. But talk to us about, you got to be on a high, your kids do, your coaching staff and your community. Talk to us about last week's game of Bryant, then we'll move on because you got another big one.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, first off, you got to give them a lot of credit. Those guys, I have a tremendous amount of respect for them and their coaches, and what they've been able to accomplish is phenomenal. I mean, it'll be tough for someone to ever do. I mean, they were really close to beating Frank McClellan's streak. So, I mean, it's impressive. Our guys, man, we team camp with them 5 times. I mean, and we played them last year really well. Our guys got used to them, and we kind of, we just felt like that we could play with them. We scheduled them. I really wasn't one that wanted to schedule them. A couple of my assistant coaches said, "Hey, let's play them. If we want to be the best, let's beat the best." I said, "Okay." so we ended up scheduling them, and it obviously worked out well. The big thing for me with playing them is you play a team like that, you figure out real quick what your weaknesses and things are, because they expose them. And they did. I mean, we didn't do anything the second half on offense. I mean, we did not pee a drop, sorry for lack of a better word, but we didn't. Defense kept us in the game. I thought that we played well on offense the first half and special teams and all that, but we didn't come out. We had a lot of correcting to do on Sunday, and that's no disrespect to Bryant whatsoever. It's just we didn't play very well offensively. That's why they made some great adjustments, and we didn't have an answer. And I think some of it probably, I'm not going to make excuses. I think some of it had to do with being tired. I mean, we had 8 guys going both ways, and they're rotating 8 on the offensive line and 8 on the defensive line, and that's tough, man. I mean, it's tough for our kids, but they battled through it and they won. And really what we've been trying to do since Sunday, and you know how this goes, especially you and Bray, is that you got to get over it, man. I mean, to stay on that Kool-Aid drunk too long and you'll get your butt beat the next week. So we've tried to move on.
Well, and that was my next question. Just what you talked about is it always, you love that confidence. I mean, that confidence, you can't, get it any other way, when win a game like that. But then, man, you're going back. Here we go. You got North Little Rock, one of your old former schools, and I know, in the preseason, kind of people they're going to be up and down, but they played pretty well the first 3 games of the year. I mean, I know they got beat by a solid Catholic team. I mean, they've got a pretty good football team, and you're going over there, and nobody's talking about North Little Rock, and everybody's talking about you. Talk to your audience and talk to me how you and your staff are dealing with that. I mean, it's not like y'all don't understand success. I mean, you won the state championship last year, but talk to me about how do you get them regrouped and focused? What are you doing anything different in practice? Are we a little bit ornery or more to detail things? Or talk to me a little bit about it.
Well, I got my big bro on staff, so he's a mastermind of getting people back on track on things like that. He's a mastermind, like it's unbelievable to watch. Obviously I hadn't coached with him until last year and at UAM, but he wasn't at that level yet. So, I mean, we've kind of piggybacked off him a little bit with some of the things he does, but really, like I said, it's Sunday up in film. I mean, it was actually kind of a butt chewing session because we had so many mistakes that we had to, so it was a great opportunity for them. The old Lou Holtz thing, if you win a big game, everybody's telling them how great they are. you chew butt and you figure out a way to, bring them back down to reality. And then if you get your butt whooped, then you hug on them and say, hey, all that stuff. You know how that goes. But so we gave them a little dose of that on Sunday. And I tell you, I was really pleased with practice today and all week. I mean, I thought our players have come out pretty focused and, locked in on what their assignments are. And, but yeah, man, North Little Rock, when you play those guys, they're physical, they're fast. I don't give a crap what their record is. They were 0-2 last year when we played them too, and they beat us. So, I don't look at that record or anything like that. They've got a good football team, very well coached. And so we're going to have to play really well. I'm glad it's our first home game. We haven't been at home yet this year, so we'll have a good crowd.
Well, and that's true. And I've seen them go 0-4, 0-5, and you didn't, by week 10 or 11, you didn't want to play those guys, and exactly. Better and better. Talk to us a little bit about North Little Rock. I mean, I've watched them a little bit on film here or there. I mean, obviously they got some good athletes. Had Clint Reed, come in as a head coach, and I think Coach Sanford, who retired, to come back out. He's like an old boxer; he just can't get away from it, and he's back out there helping Coach Reed. Talk to me. What do you see on film? And you're at home in War Memorial Stadium, which is good for you guys. Ought to have a great crowd. Talk to me a little bit what you see on film on North Little Rock and the things that y'all got to do to be successful.
I think I'll start with defense because I think their defensive line's pretty good. I think they're they compensate for their linebackers. Their linebackers are good high school football players, but they're not as good at what they've had in the past. And that's no knock on those kids, but those 4 defensive linemen they have, sometimes 3, they're good. I mean, they're athletic like they always have been. They've got one kid, I believe, that's 6'7". It's kind of like last year's. We had to deal with him. He was all over the field, and he was an animal. Their secondary's fast. It'll be tough for us to get, to be able to get some long runs and things like that. They close on the ball pretty fast. So, and they're pretty sound defensively. And then the offense, I think their quarterback does a good job of managing the game. He's got a really, really good wide receiver that they really try to get the ball to. And then they've got a couple of little shifty guys like they always do, that just kind of cause you problems because it's hard to simulate that in practice to get that look. But their backs and their little slot receivers they have are really quick and fast. So it's going to be a challenge for our secondary. We're going to have to put some pressure on their quarterback. And I don't think he's much of a runner, but sometimes that changes when you get some guys chasing you. So we'll see Friday night.
Well, it puts a little pressure on man back there in the back end a little bit.
That's right.
So, but I'm sure he'll play well. Well, Coach, congratulations! Hey, man, they just you keep winning, they get bigger and bigger. Y'all jumped in a lot of polls, #1 overall in the state, and it's exciting. But at the end of the day, of it is nobody looks back on that in December. It's all about holding that trophy, and I know that's y'all's ultimate goal. And hopefully you'll be there. Well, Brad, appreciate you taking time with us. Look forward to seeing you down the road.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
See you. Well, just heard from Coach Bolding. Man, they've got another tough one with North Little Rock, which we'll talk a little bit about that here later on the show when we do our picks. But, man, you can feel the energy and you can feel the excitement there at Parkview. I'm going to talk about another team, and I got a bunch of text messages from these guys this weekend, was Fayetteville. I mean, they're kind of flying underneath. Think about who they beat in Cabot.
Mm-hmm.
They killed Northside last week. They started a little slow against North Little Rock and put it on those guys playing tremendous defense. The Purple Dogs might be for real up here. They're kind of standing out. What Bray? I mean, you don't get to watch them because you're coaching, but the Bulldogs defensively are for real. Looks like obviously the quarterback Lindsey's having a great year. Talk to me a little bit about the Purple Dogs. Yeah.
Well, it comes right down to it. The Purple Dogs have a great quarterback in Drake Lindsey. If you've got a quarterback, you've got a chance. And Drake Lindsey has some receivers that can go get it. Coach Casey Dick and his staff do a heck of a job at Fayetteville. And as long as you got a quarterback, you've got a chance. And Mr. Lindsey is living up to expectations. And
I agree, but their defense also. They're playing really good on defense. Derek Davis, Devontae Britt, two co-defense coordinators. Probably will have them on sometime. We already had Casey on, but man, Fayetteville, keep your eyes on them. Another game we got coming is this week, and we're fixing to bring him on, is Little Rock Catholic headed over to Benton. Let's bring Coach Fogelman on right now, our BSN guest, Coach John Fogelman. Welcome to the show, Coach. Hey, the Catholic Rockets have been rolling here. Big win over Greene County Tech last week, opening up with the 6A East Conference. Coach, talk to me. You had a great year last year, got beat in the semifinals by the Phoenix State champions, Pulaski Academy. You lost some guys, feel like you got a good bunch coming in. Tell me, this game with Benton this week coming, you got to go to Benton. Huge playoff implications, conference championship we're early, but you're kind of looking on paper and things. Talk to me about your football team this year, and then talk to us a little bit about Benton and your matchup having to go over there.
Right. So yeah, we've got a lot of returning from last year. The pieces though that were the guys that we lost were awfully good. Offensively, Sam Sanders was our leader. The whole team followed him. He's tough. He's a competitor. Hated to lose, and we took on that. Hopefully, that has stuck with the guys. Defensively, we lost 4 guys, but again, Cole Pace and Owen Waller and Eichler, those guys were like quarterbacks on the defense. Those were very important pieces. But I think the guys have done a good job that have filled in for them. As far as the matchup. Yeah, I know Benton's excited about this. They got some guys that missed last week that are supposed to play this Friday. So, I know it's a different year, but obviously last year this was the game that made the difference in who won the conference. Obviously it's a big game, but it is early, like you mentioned, and then you've got teams like West Memphis and Marion and Searcy. I think everybody's improved. Everybody was pretty young last year, so. It may not be the same this year. Those guys they're really good.
Well, and you hit it with your conference. I think everybody's better. I mean, you talked about that off the air a little bit, and going to Benton's always difficult. I mean, you worked at El Dorado. You've been over there 100 times and played. It is a difficult place to play, or getting a running back. And what do y'all have to do to win the ball game? No turnovers and things like that. But what are some of the key matchups?
Yeah, the typical stuff. But obviously we need to stop their running game. If he only played a half against Brown, I think he carried it like 21 times.
Yeah.
In a half. So obviously that could be something they rely on. But last year, one of the things that we did so good, you go back and look, we had some really long drives. And it kept their offense off the field. And so it would be nice to be able to do that again, put sustained drives together and keep their weapons on the sideline.
Well, the old John Fogelman 10 to 11, 12 play drive, I've seen those a few times in my career. Yeah. And you're a classic guy with it. Well, Coach, I'm going to get you off here. Y'all got a lot of ball to play, but this is just a huge game. I got tickled. I thought about you the other day. I saw her. A couple of weeks ago, Stevie Nicks was coming to Oklahoma City, and the first guy I thought about was you and Fleetwood Mac and that part of it. You got to get out and see Stevie in action here lately.
Oh man, they got to quit touring while it's ball season. Look and find it during the summertime.
I know, but I saw her going into Oklahoma City over there, and I thought, man, I wonder if Coach Fogelman's driving over and seeing it.
That's close enough drive.
Well, we'll get a date and we'll go watch them. So, Coach, good luck to you. Hey, we'll catch you on down the road. Good luck to you guys this Friday.
All right, good to see you. Thanks a lot.
See you, buddy. Man, Coach Fogelman, Brent, what did you think about listening to Coach Fogelman there? I mean, obviously, they were in the state semifinals last year. This game last year was for the conference championship, and probably if you look on paper, it's probably coming down to that. I mean, West Memphis, there's a lot of ball to play, but you never know. But this is a huge game. Coach Fogelman's played a lot of big games. Coach Brad Harris been to state championship games. Talk to me. What do you see on the outlook of this game, and what do you think about the Rockets and the Panthers?
Going to be an outstanding game Friday night. And I just want to say this: the job that John Fogelman's done at Little Rock Catholic is off the charts good. But I see this game in I see the big thing that'll be the deciding factor is, will Catholic be able to get off the field on after? Will they be able to? Because you know what Benton's going to do. They're going to give you a steady diet of Braylon Russell. Are they going to be able to? Is Catholic going to be able to hold up to that steady diet of that big bad Brahma bull coming at you full speed ahead? And the question is also, is Braylon Russell going to be able to? Is he going to be healthy this week? Because he got hurt the first in the Salt Bowl against Bryant and hadn't played since. So,
well, I think he set last week. He's supposed to schedule to play, but I think that's a big game. Well, let's do this. Let's bring on our BSN guest, Danny McEwen. Let's see who our BSN Player of the Week is. Hey, Danny, welcome to the Coaches in the Mouth. First thing I had to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Hey, love it, and we don't have to worry about the Jets. I don't think.
Well, I hope we can score. I hope we can score against them. But that was good to see. Well, let's get off. You got bigger news than the Cowboys. Talk to us this week. You had another tough choice. I mean, the numbers some of these kids are putting up are unbelievable. I mean, I'll get and start reading or watch the highlights here or there, and it's just phenomenal. Who's our BSN Player of the Week this week, and how in the world did you choose this one?
Well, you're right. I mean, you look at the stats and you look at on social media and everything, and there's kids putting up some phenomenal numbers and people scoring a lot of points. So Bill Elmore's theory is wrong. Defense is not what the ball game's all about. So we've decided this week for our week 2 BSN Arkansas Player of the Week is going to be Noah Smith, quarterback from Whitehall High School. So they had a big win against Maumelle, opening conference game, beat them 42-21. And Noah is, from what Coach Jason Mitchell has told me, has developed into a big-time leader for them. And we all know what they've been through, and we know that what kind of leadership they need. So Noah had 326 yards of total offense, which was the same amount of total offense that the entire Maumelle Hornet team had.
Wow.
Pretty impressive. Yeah, he was 11 of 13 for 195 yards and threw for 3 TDs, and then rushed for another 131 yards and another one on the ground. So had a big night. It was a big win for them, especially opening conference, and we're proud to be able to share some love with the Whitehall Bulldogs, especially Noah Smith, BSN Player of the Week.
Well, that's awesome. And, they've been through a lot. Obviously, it's well documented, everything they've been through. And you've actually got to watch them play, 2 weeks ago against Warren. And I went back and actually watched their game of Maumelle. I mean, what an impressive night for that young man. But man, they Whitehall's got a really good football team also.
They do. I think some people probably underestimated them because they have a huge offensive line and they're playing really well. It was a great game against Warren, came down right down to the end, or they might be undefeated at this point. But yeah, Noah Smith is our Player of the Week, and he did a fantastic job. And I tell you what, they've got a little running back that people need to keep their eyes on. He's committed to our buddy Tim Horton at Air Force. And he's going to be a fantastic player as well.
Yeah, he can go. Well, Danny, you last week you went to the Parkview Bryant game. I mean, what an atmosphere! Obviously I wasn't there. Just saw the highlights and went back and watched a little bit on live stream. Talk to me about the environment there and the ball game a little bit, then we'll find out where you're going this week.
Yeah, well, I hadn't been inside the gate more than 5 minutes, and I had 3 people ask me who I was for. avoided those questions. But yeah, unbelievable atmosphere. Both sides packed. Student sections on both sides were rowdy and supporting their team, and unbelievable, man. The kids both sides played hard. And, I told Buzz, I said, it's a shame for somebody to have to lose this ball game because of the way that both sides played. But unbelievable. I know that Parkview's sky high. I know that Bryant, I tell you what, I don't know who Bryant plays next, but I feel sorry for him because it's not going to be.
Yeah, they'll be. I guess they're on a bye week this week, and they'll be ready to roll. And I'm not sure who they play. Well, who you got circled this week? We're going to go through our top 10 games here in a few minutes.
I need a suggestion from the mouth. Hopefully, the mouth's got a suggestion for me where I need to go.
Where you need to go, wherever you go, you're going to see a fabulous game. So just pick it.
That's the way to be non-committal.
That is, but there's a bunch of good. You got North Little Rock at Parkview. You've got Catholic at Benton. You've got
I think that'll be a really good one.
Yes, a conference championship possible. This is a game which we'll talk about a little bit. Mountain Home at Lake Hamilton's going to be. That's some playoff implications there, obviously. Boonville at Harding Academy. My God.
I saw that one.
Well, Boonville is, and I'm sure they have a hard time getting games. They played Fairview last week, and now they're going there, and they played Ozark, so they're battle tested when they get in the conference. I can promise.
Absolutely. I don't think anybody wants to play either one of those teams.
No, they don't. But we'll get back with you next week. I'm sure you're going to figure out where you're going to go. Boy, that Catholic Benton game ought to be a great one, but. Yeah, North Little Rock, Parkview, Hot Springs, Southwest. I mean, there's a lot of them you can choose from. So Mouth says, pick one, you can't go wrong.
I believe he's right. He's been on assignment, so he knows what he's talking about.
He's amongst the people all the time.
I'm always amongst the people. Got to be with my people at all times.
He's with them at all time. All right, Danny, we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
Man, BSN Player of the Week, quarterback in Whitehall, I got to watch him play, and man, he had more yards than everybody at Maumelle. That's unbelievable. Congratulations to him. Well, let's get into our pick segment here.
And can I say something real quick? Congratulations to Whitehall for the season they've had so far. For all they've been through, could be very easily 3-0 instead of 2-1. That just shows the fortitude of their players and their coaching staff, and that is that's just fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's credit to the coaches and the players. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, what they've been through. Well, let's go ahead and jump right into it here. All right, we're going to start in 2A here. We got Des Arc at Carlisle. Des Arc beat Hazen earlier in the year. Carlisle had a big win against Cross County last week. Must be very, very good on defense. It won 7-0. Mouth, who you got in this one?
Well, I'm gonna go with Carlisle because they beat Cross County last week, right?
Yep.
And Cross County's a darn good football team, so I'm gonna go with the Carlisle Bison.
I am too. I think they're really tough on defense. Just giving up 7 points across County. Grandma Knott is also going with Carlisle. Let's head down to South Arkansas. We got Star City, Coach Vereen against Coach Bowe and the Warren Lumberjacks. I'm not even going to ask you. I already know who you're going to take here. But go ahead.
You know I can't go against the friend of the show, Coach Bowe Embry and the Warren Lumberjacks. I cannot do it until he proves me wrong, and that usually doesn't happen. So I'm going with the Warren Lumberjacks.
Well, I think me and Grandma and I are also going to go with the Lumberjacks. Coach Vereen has done a good job and has pushed the Lumberjacks the last couple of years, but I think Warren's just got too much for him. Here's another big game. We had Tom Sears from head coach at Hoxie on earlier this year. Hoxie at Melbourne. Melbourne had a great year. Coach Stu Smith is still coaching at Melbourne and does a great job. Who do you like in this one?
I'm going to step out on a limb and say I'm going to go with Hoxie.
Going with Hoxie. All righty. Coach Williams is going to go with Hoxie, and so is Grandma Nah. So we're kind of all sitting on the same page. Let's head over to White County. We got Boonville, who's non-conference schedule. Good gracious. They played Ozark. They were at Fairview last week, and now they're headed to Harding Academy, the defending 4A state runners-up. Mouth, who you got in this one?
Well, I gotta go with Harding Academy because both my nephew and my niece. My nephew graduated from there. My niece, the junior cheerleader. So I got to go with.
So basically, you're going to home this up.
Yeah, I'm home with the home.
Okay,
yeah, I'm a homer.
Just call it like it is. It's okay. They're all out there. I'm going to go with Harding Academy also. Grandma Nah is going to go with Boonville. All right, here we go in the Central Arkansas. North Little Rock charging Wildcats, going to War Memorial Stadium against Little Rock Parkview. We've had Coach Bolding on here. To me, this is a scary game for Parkview. I think North Little Rock's got a good team.
For Catholic.
No, for North Little Rock. North Little Rock, I think, a scary game for Parkview.
Okay.
Is North Little Rock is sitting there, and they've got a good football team. Parkview's coming off a huge high off beat Bryant last week. Talk to me who you got in this one.
I'm gonna ride with the Patriots.
Riding with the Patriots. Well, that's probably a smart thing. All right, let's go over now. We just talked about this team. We got BB at Whitehall. BB looks much improved. Whitehall's sitting at 2-1. Had a big win over Maumelle last week. Who you like here?
I'm gonna keep riding those Whitehall Bulldogs.
I'm gonna stay with Whitehall too. They got something special going on down there. I watched them play a couple of times. They really got something special. Grandma Nah's going with Whitehall. Central Arkansas in this in the 5A again. We've got Morrilton at Joe T. Robinson. Morrilton pulls out a big victory over Bologna last week. Robinson's only loss is to Pulaski Academy so far this year. Who you like at this game?
I'm gonna go with Joe T in this one.
I think I'm gonna go with Joe T also. I think Morrilton's got their future's bright, but I think they're just too young for this one. 6A West, big matchup this week. Mountain Home, who's been on a roll, got beat last week pretty good by Greenwood, but I think they got a good football team. Lake Hamilton got beat last week by Little Rock Christian. They've also dropped a game to Lakeside. Who do you like in this one?
This is a sneaky good football game, I believe. I'm going to go with Lake Hamilton.
Going with Lake Hamilton, which I see that's a long drive from Mountain Home all the way down to Hot Spring. Coach Williams is going to go with Mountain Home. I think they've got something going on over there that they got a chance to have a good year. Next matchup, had him on, Coach Fogelman early, the Little Rock Catholic Rockets, headed over to the Benton Panthers. Most people think this could be for the conference championship. Who you like in this one?
I'm going to go with the Catholic Rockets.
Going with the Catholic Rockets. Grandma Nah is going to go with Benton, and Coach Williams is going to go with John Fogelman also, and the Catholic Rockets. I think this thing could go either way.
Coach Williams, you can't go against a man that wore purple.
Yeah, that's true.
No, you can't go against a former Wildcat.
Well, both of them are great. Brad Harris, great coach, Coach Fogelman, but yeah, I've got some history there. Last game of the week. Daryl Burnett at Hot Springs is steadily down there just winning games.
Just winning.
And being quiet about it. And now they're going to take on Daryl Patton in Little Rock Southwest, who's beat Heritage. He really thinks they've got the chance to be decent, get in the playoffs this year. Well, who you got in this one? Hot Springs at Little Rock Southwest.
I got to go with the men of Troy. I got to go with the Hot Springs Trojans.
Well, Grandma Nah is too, and so is Coach Williams. So that's our top 10 games of the week. Last week we both went 8-2. Grandma went 6-4. You nailed the Parkview Bryant game last week, and so we'll have a lot of fun with this. there's some big games this week, and this should be a lot of fun. All right, this time we're going to bring on our man, Mr. Triple Crown, Derek Brazil, and try to get some picks for the weekend so everybody can enjoy a little college football and NFL. Mr. Triple Crown himself, Derek Brazil. Derek, great weekend last weekend. Yeah. Great on college. Won. I mean, that thing looked like it was going to hit in the NFL and the Seahawks. We were just talking, put the screws to you, and lost both tackles. Cowboys looked impressive. Crazy NFL. Let's talk a little bit about it.
Yep.
Well, Cowboys are impressive, and Aaron Rodgers. We're sitting here a week ago, talking about we don't know if the Jets are going to finish first, go to the Super Bowl, finish last, and in 4 plays, bam. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I hate it, honestly. I know a lot of people are saying this. I was looking forward to watching Rodgers and Wilson and what he can turn Wilson into. And it was sad, I kind of want to see it, and then for that game to go that way and then to come back and then them to win on a punt return in overtime, I was just like, what? It's just like, that crazy. It was crazy weekend. So
crazy.
But yeah, but we did well. We hit 9 of 10 last weekend. I mean, I got kind of lucky on college day, right? We had Utah, Notre Dame, and Colorado. Notre Dame and Colorado kicked butt, right? Utah, I bought it down to 6. They won by 7, and they got shoved into the end zone at the end of the game just to try to get the ball back. And so we really got kind of lucky with Utah, but we'll take that. And then like you said, the NFL, we hit 4 or 5. Who would have thought Rams would beat the Seahawks? That was the last thing. They were winning at half 14-6. And I was like, and they missed the field goal. I was like, all right, it's going to be fine. And they didn't do nothing in the second half. And honestly, Matt Stafford looked pretty dang good. Yep. Like he was, a couple new receivers, Puka and Tutu Atwell. They had like 10 targets apiece or 10 catches each. It was great. So
and they lost, and the Seahawks lost. Had a bunch of injuries. The offensive line a little bit. And like we were just talking, I saw where they signed 41-year-old Jason Peters, and he can still play, folks. I mean, I watched him last year. He can still play, and he knows what he's doing. But out of all the games you had last week, the Seahawks over the Rams, I was like, hey, that's an easy one. I could pick that. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah, we do. I have buddies. We do the survivor pools, and a lot of them had Seahawks, right? And I was like, surely it's going to happen, and it didn't happen. But for this week, I've got a pretty good slate that I've worked up as well. It's very similar to last week. So we've got a college day and then an NFL day. And looking through college, and it's kind of a unique day. Not as big a games as obviously we had last weekend. But the 4 games I'm going to take this week in college is I'm going to take number 11 Tennessee at Florida. I think Tennessee, the line's only 6.5. If you're going to play that, I'd play it just like that. So that's probably the game. If I was going to play a game straight up, that would be the game I'd play. When I play it in my parlay, I'm going to play it just Tennessee on the money line though, just to cover myself there. The second game I have is this is a lot of people might question me here, but Wyoming at Texas. I'm going to take Wyoming, but I'm going to push the points up from 28.5 to 36.5. I think if a lot of people go look, Wyoming, they're 2-0. They're pretty damn good football team.
They can score the ball.
That's exactly right. They beat Texas Tech and then Portland State, somebody else, but they can score. They're scoring upper 30s. And you look what Texas is doing. Yeah, they played Bama last week, right? Of course, best team in the last couple of decades. But I think they beat Rice the first game, and they're scoring mid-30s as well. And so I think that Texas will win, obviously, but I don't think that they're going to cover them by 36.5. Okay, and so I'll cover that one to 36.5.
Well, and then you also throw the factor in on that is, they're coming off beating Alabama, and you know how that. I mean, I don't care who you are. And we beat Alabama. We're playing the Wyoming. Whoop-de-doo, So that's the middle part of it.
So you hit it right on it. That's exactly what I was thinking. And then, so guess what? The other flip of that coin is, who wants to play Bama the week after that happens? Not South Florida. I promise you. So I'm going to take Alabama's lines minus 32. Same thing. Shove it in a parlay just to give yourself as much coverage as you can. You can shove it down to minus 23. And then the last game I've got is Washington at Michigan State. Washington's number 8. They're the real deal, man. I mean, they got that quarterback. Hell, he's thrown it like 100 times already, in 2 games. And so, but Michigan State, they're no slouch either. They've been beating people pretty good. And so this one I'm gonna play a little differently. I'm gonna take the over. And so the line's 55. Shove it to 48. That covers you, on a lot of the mathematical numbers. So I'm gonna shove that to 48 over. You can parlay those 4 together, same as last week. You get 2-1 on your odds. Okay.
But
then we go
Michigan State. That's interesting, because they got a lot of issues going on over there with the head coach right now and all that fiasco. And
exactly.
They can score the ball too. Washington. I got a friend of mine. He coaches at Oregon, and we're kind of I talked to him about Pac-12. And, they go in. Kill Portland State, and you're thinking they'll kill Texas Tech and get out of there. Luckily, Texas Tech goes to them. But he's been talking to me about how good Washington's receivers and quarterbacks are, and they've got some really good players.
Well, and so that tells you. So I was going back, and I like looking at who played who, right? So we go back to the Wyoming game. Wyoming beat Texas Tech, right? And then you if you go and you connect the dots, Oregon barely beat. Who did Oregon barely beat? They barely beat Texas Tech, right? And then Wyoming beat them pretty damn good. Yeah. So you start putting those numbers together, I'm like, Wyoming's a pretty damn good team. That's why I think they'll hang with Texas. Texas coming off a high. Alabama's going to get, I'm sure they have a pretty tough week with Nick Saban. So that's my thought process there and why and how I got to that point. Rolling over to the NFL. So the NFL, I ain't touching money. I'm not touching points at the moment with NFL because it comes down to the fourth quarter. What Scott Hansen on Red Zone, he says, fourth quarter's coming up and it's like anything can happen, right? And so, but I'm picking 5 teams again on that. And here's the teams I'm going to pick. I'm playing in a parlay, and this parlay will pay 4-1 just with this parlay. And I'm playing the Saints at the Panthers. I think the Saints are better than a lot of people think with Derek Carr coming over. Michael Thomas looked better last week. They got Olave from the other receiver. They're all over the place with running backs at the moment, but Jamal Williams is good enough to carry that team until Kamara gets back. But I think that they're going to be pretty good. The Dolphins at the Pats. Hell, if Tyreek Hill does what he did again, and that dude, you can't guard him. He's
got Waddle. That's the thing about it. And Waddle's back on the other side, and he can fly too. And
you can't take them both ways. I think that. So if Tua can stay out of getting a damn concussion, I think you're going to be all right. Because I think poor people, tremendously, and I think that the Pats, they can't score with them. And they're going to, Belichick's going to probably try to take Hill away. That's what he does. He try to isolate one guy. So I expect Waddle to probably have a pretty big week then. Next game, Jets at Cowboys. Cowboys, right? So Cowboys looked great this week. That game was terrible. Terrible to watch on TV because it was over in the first quarter, right? Yeah.
And everything played into Cowboys' hands. The Cowboys are real dangerous if they get a lead because they can get to your passer and they can work their speed on defense. I tell you what scares me about this game, though. Of course, I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm scared if we play the Buccaneers.
You scared of Wilson, man? You scared of Wilson?
I've seen this happen before. I'm just telling you. And here's what really scares me. And I'm being serious about this, is the Jets just lining up and running right at us. That's not our deal. Now, consistently doing that in the NFL, I've seen the 49ers do it over and over in a couple of years. That's what scares me. But the other part I think you're on is Wilson's going to throw it to us.
He's throwing it to us. But you're exactly. You are right. That's their only chances. They've got Dalvin Cook and they got Breece Hall. Breece Hall, he looked like a young Frank Gore. You know, I mean, that dude he gets the ball and he was rambling upfield like on little screen passes and stuff. I was just like, man, you know, I mean, so he looked good from being hurt last year, you know.
And I don't know how much Dallas scores. I really don't. I mean, I know we got weapons, but
you didn't have to score much last. I mean, you had a couple of touchdowns, a punt return, and then another kickoff, and so they weren't really throwing. So it's going to be an interesting game, like you said, to see what Dallas can do. Get CD, get the receivers more involved. You know, the young tight end, Ferguson,
he looked good.
Yeah.
He looked good. He looked real good.
So I've taken the Cowboys there. Then I'm taking Rams aren't going to do it again, right? They better not do it again. 49ers at the Rams. I think 49ers last year, I think I said this last week, I think if they would have had a quarterback, the Eagles wouldn't have made it. And I think the 49ers could have possibly won the Super Bowl last year. They got too many pieces, man. And, you know, with Kittle and McCaffrey and Ayuk and Samuel, and I mean, it's just unbelievable. And then on defense, they got damn good defense. Greenlaw in the middle. I mean, they're Bosa on the outside. They're great, you know.
And they're great on the back. I think I was impressed that, you know, and I watched the Herd's people, you know, they were really pushing Pittsburgh, and I wasn't buying in on that. And Brock Purdy's pretty accurate. And that's all Kyle Shanahan needs. I mean, if that guy can, you know, if he's accurate and he don't turn it over, they're going to win a lot of games. But the 49ers have owned the Rams. I mean, they have owned them. It's a bad matchup for the Rams. Now, of course, the Rams probably win now, but I didn't, you know, I like worse. But I'd be on the 49ers all day against the Rams.
The Rams killed me last week, man.
I'm telling you.
It was terrible. So, you know, I'm betting against them again. And then the last game is, I think it's a rebound game. Raiders at the Bills. I'm taking the Bills. They need to win this one. And I think, you know, Josh Allen had some bad turnovers this week. I think he'll come out of it, and they'll do a lot better. Raiders, I watched that game. You know, Josh Jacobs, he signed late. I think it's hard to get in the groove with him every time they're in the 20. You could kind of tell what they were going to do. Hand the ball left, hand the ball right to Josh Jacobs, try to score a touchdown. They shut down Devontae Adams pretty good. And then Jacoby Myers, he's in concussion protocol. He looked good, but he had 10 targets, 9 catches. But anyway, you parlay those 5 4-1 odds. Then, if you really want to make some money, you parlay that plus the college games, and you get back to that 14-1 that we had again last week. And like I said, last week we hit 9. You know, it depends on what you want to play. But last week we hit 9 of 10, and I could see it doing it again. I mean, we got some challenges here. Like Wyoming's going to have to step up and play some ball. It's going to be fun games to watch. But I think the NFL is pretty safe. Tennessee, if you're going to play that in parlay, I would money line that. I wouldn't give the points at Florida just because of. And I don't like giving points to the SEC at Florida. I just wouldn't want to do that. I don't think Florida's very good, though.
Yeah.
But man, that's it. It's very similar as last week, but in the amount of games and everything. And this is honestly where I had the most confidence. And so we'll see. Let's make some money, right?
Well, that's the plan here. And, man, college football, and I'll get you off here. We're just wrapping here, is – man, it's picking that, and you do it, and it's all over the place right now. I mean, the SEC, you know, I mean, you got Texas, the Big 12, you got Colorado, you got USC, you got, you know, Michigan. I think it's so, you know, it's a crazy year. It's just wide open.
I do too, and honestly, I think that it's hard right now because the transfer portal. Like I said that episodes ago, you don't know who's moved to where. You sit there and say, well, South Alabama's got 18 returning starters, right? And it's like, I wanted to pick them over Oklahoma State this week. But you're like, well, damn, who did Oklahoma State get moved in? You know, so you've got to, it's harder to do your research because of the transfer portal and figure out, you know, if the teams are old or, you know, you got JUCO transfers, what do you have? So I think that's a big part of it. But there's teams like Washington, right? I mean, this team is looking great. I mean, you know, Texas has a good chance. We talked about Florida State's probably the team that's going to be in the top 4. I don't see anybody beating them. So anyway, I think it's going to be a fun year. And I told you we was going to get back on the winning streak. We did last week. We're going to do it again this week.
Well, good deal. Hey, tell everybody where they can find your sheets and
Yep. Instagram, Triple Crown Thoroughbreds, and then on Facebook. And I say it every time, we're working on if I can ever find time to get there and do it, we're working on a TikTok site. A lot of people are doing that now on TikTok. I don't know if you've noticed, if anybody noticed, if you're on TikTok, but a lot of people are doing that, and we're going to do that, and then it's going to roll into horse racing. I'll be one of the only few, or only one I know of that will have sports and horse racing. So when horse racing in Oaklawn comes around in December, it'll be a lot of fun.
well, it will be, and boy, it's right around the corner. My
It
God,
is.
and everything. Well, appreciate you coming on. Hey, we'll check your work and have you on next week. Thanks, Derek.
All right. Thanks,
See you.
Jesse. See you, bud.